Sam, my dude, SaiyanSalamander here, and I'm back with a new Fire Emblem Heroes series. So, I recently started my Fae Refine series, but I've had plenty of other series planned too, including this one. I'm calling the series Outrealm Heroes, and I'll be talking about heroes outside of Fire Emblem being released in Fae. I've seen plenty of other mobile game crossovers, and I've been dying to see some in Fire Emblem. Dragalia Lost already has 2 Fire Emblem events, and now has 8 playable Fire Emblem characters, so I think it's finally time to see some Dragalia Lost heroes in Fire Emblem. So, let's start things off with the first hero from the world of Dragonblood. There's only one way to start the Dragalia banner off, and that's with the Prince of Alberia himself, Uden. So far in Dragalia Lost, Uden only has 2 variations, his original ult and his Gala ult, and both variations of him use a sword, so in Fae, he'll be an infantry sword unit. Choosing a weapon of choice was a bit tricky since there isn't really preferred or exclusive weapons in Dragalia like there is in Fae, so it's a bit weird to come up with a weapon for everyone. For Uden, I decided to give him the hero sword since it looks like the one that he uses in his main artwork, and it didn't really seem right to give him an element-specific weapon, such as the nut hung. In Fae, I made Uden's blade a 16 might weapon that also gives the unit +3 resistance. Hero sword also accelerates Uden's special cooldown and has a distant counter and vantage built into his weapon too, for a simple yet effective weapon of choice. I also gave him the exclusive free cooldown special, Exalted Fire. In Dragalia Lost, Exalted Fire hit enemies in a line and reduces the enemy's defensive by 5%. However, I made the skill a bit more flashy in Heroes. Exalted Fire boosts Uden's damage by 30% of the unit's attack, and also grants units allies within 2 spaces +5 to all stats. Uden's very loyal and close to his companions, so I wanted Space Kit to reflect this by his special granting his nearby allies a boost after activating his special, while also becoming stronger when nearby his allies by giving him attack speed 1-4 and defense resistance 0-3 in his base kit. I also added Desperation as his B slot skill, since it's a simple skill and it combos well with the Vantage effect in his weapon. Uden's a very balanced unit with a super boon in speed and a super bane in defense, to reference how sometimes he leaves himself vulnerable when attacking, as he trusts his comrades to cover him, and for him to cover his comrades in return. As the main character, I tried to make him a powerful unit, and one you should definitely watch out for when he's surrounded by allies, as he reaches over 60 attack, 40 speed, and 38 defense and resistance, and this is without any boons, flowers, or merges. The second unit from the Heroes Dragonblood banner is the Anointed Lance, Elysian. In Dragalia Lost, Elysian's base appearance is a lance-wielding water-attuned unit, but she's also known to wield a sword and axe and be attuned to the other elements like wind and light with her ult variants. For her debut Fae appearance though, I decided to stick with her base ult, making her an infantry lancer in Fae. For a weapon, I decided to give her the 5-star water lance, Limpid Rush. In Fae, this weapon has 16 might, and also boosts her defense by 3. I also gave Limpid Rush an accelerated special cooldown, and a Wodow effect, which is already a pretty strong weapon. But come on, this is 2020, and power creep is a thing, so I think we need one more effect to really spice this weapon up. Which is why I decided to give Elysian a built-in Special Fighter. This makes her an incredibly unique unit, as Special Fighter is a skill that infantry units typically don't have access to, and I figured it would help Elysian proc her special while preventing the enemy from using theirs. Instead of an exclusive special like Uden, I decided to give Elysian an exclusive support skill instead, Brave Bastion. In Dragalia, this boosted the entire team's strength by 20% for 20 seconds. In Fae, however, I decided to make Brave Bastion essentially power crept rally attack defense plus, as it raises the target and units adjacent to the unit and the target's attack and defense by 6, and it also boosts these stats for Elysian as well. For the rest of her base kit, I gave her Fortress Defense Res 3, No Follow-Up 3, and finally Savage Blow 3. I gave her the Fortress skill to boost her defenses as a reference to her trying to shield a prince from harm, and Savage Blow 3 as a reference to her Hallowed Waters skill from Dragalia Lost, which damaged the target and nearby enemies. No follow-up I didn't really have a reason for, it's just a good skill. For Elysian's stats, I gave her good attack, speed, and defense, but below average HP and low resistance. I also gave her a super boon in HP and defense, and as well as a super bane in resistance, making her a great physical tank, but a poor magical wall without some serious investment. Next up on the banner is the first and only armoured unit in this video, as well as the 4-star focus for this banner. He's none other than the axe-wielding Arc in the Storm, Ranzal. As the 4-star demo, his base skills aren't too good compared to the other units on this banner, but I made sure to give him a great preferred weapon. Ranzal's Stormwrath Gaze is effectively a 19 might weapon due to its +3 attack bonus. Like Uden, he also has a built-in distant counter, and to top things off, the Stormwrath Gaze also prevents enemy follow-up attacks when Ranzal is above 50% HP. For his base skills, I gave him some simple tanky skills, like Pervice and Steady Stance too. But as for a 4-star unit, I didn't think I should give him something crazy like Vengeful Fighter or a Bold Fighter, but I did finally demote Quick Riposte 3. This skill was always previously 5-star locked, as the easiest way to get the skill was to promote a Tsubaki, Klein or Picnic Leo to 5-star. So it'd be great to finally have such an old skill available in the 3-star 4-star pool, without needing to unlock the potential of a unit. For Ranzel's stats, I completely dropped his speed, making him the slowest unit in Fae as of making this video, but giving him great attack, HP, and good defense and resistance as well. While he's gotta be careful of no follow-up, Ranzel is a fantastic tank that can prevent enemy doubles while also doubling back himself, making for a great unit that can stand out even within a competitive class like the Armoured Axe units. For the final unit on the banner, it's my personal favourite Dragalia Lost character, so I'm really hoping she'll be a great playable unit in Fae one day. And that unit is the Bell Healer, Cleo. In Dragalia Lost, Cleo used a number of different weapons, from Shadow Staffs and Wands to Light Bows and Water Knives. But for her debut in Fae, like the other characters, I decided to go with her original ult, making her an infantry staff unit. For her weapon, I was originally going to give her the Caduceus, but because there's also a weapon in 3 houses with the same name, I decided to give her the Goosefoot staff instead. In Dragalia Lost, this weapon's a 6-star Shadow Staff, so I decided to try turn it into a really powerful weapon in Fae. To start with, it's a 14 might staff that also gives Cleo an extra 3 speed. Like all legendary staffs so far, I also gave her a built-in staff skill, choosing to go with a Raffle Staff this time around. I also made sure her weapon was effective against cavalry and armoured units, since we didn't have any movement effective staffs in Fae so far to my knowledge. Finally, to end things off, I gave her a built-in Sudden Panic skill, because it combos well with her high HP stat, and typically the Beast Lot is usually held for other staff skills that's not built into the weapon, so I figured I'd give her a good Beast Lot skill that may not usually be considered. As well as having a preferred weapon, I also gave Cleo a new support skill and a new special skill based on her 2 skills from Dragalia Lost. To start with, let's go over her support skill, Elder Cure. Restores the target HP by 50% of the unit's attack, while also healing other units within 2 spaces of 25% of Cleo's attack. I turned her other skill, Ancient Aegis, into a staff-locked inheritable skill in Fae. It has a 2-turn cooldown, and when healing an ally with a staff, it grants the effect of Aegis to all allies for the first attack they take for the first turn. I may be showing a bit of favouritism here by giving Cleo 2 brand new skills, but hey, can you blame me? She's my favourite Dragalia Lost character. I almost made both of these skills exclusive to Cleo, but I thought that'd be showing a bit too much favouritism. And I figured it'd be fun to give staff units a new tool to play around with as well. For the rest of Cleo's skills, I gave her Live to Serve 3 for the Beast Lot skill, since I thought it's pretty fitting, since she typically does a lot of the housework in the Helldom, to an exceptional standard I might add. As for the C slot skill, I gave her Infantry Pulse 3, since the skill combos well with her very high HP stat. Finally for the stats, I really wanted to focus on her really good HP and strength because of her Dragalia Lost stats. She has the 3rd highest strength and the 5th highest HP for a staff unit in the game as of the making of this video, so I really wanted to highlight that in Fae. I ended up dumping her defense stat, giving her a total of 16 defense, so I could focus on her other stats instead. I gave her 45 HP, 36 attack, 37 speed and 28 resistance, with a super boon in HP, attack and speed, as well as a super bane in defense and resistance. The stat spread makes her an incredibly offensive cleric, while also being a fantastic support unit, with her support and special skills and her other skills like Sudden Panic and Infantry Pulse. I think that's it for the Heroes of Dragonblood unit, so let's end the video off by talking about the Tempest Trials that will be included with the banner. For the Tempest Trials, I decided to give out Attack Speed Oath as a 10,000 point reward and Fortified Dragons as a 20,000 point reward. I figured both seals fit Dragalia Lost well, so they'd be the perfect reward for the Tempest Trial event I'm calling Sylvan's Trial. And based on the Tempest Trial's name, if you've played Dragalia Lost before, you might be able to recognise who the character is. It's the Woodland Archer, Luca. Luca is a Sylvan, which is a humanoid race that has the characteristics of rabbits, which live in the Dragalia Lost world. Sylvans don't transform like the beast units of the Fae universe, and use human weapons instead, most notably bows. Because of this, I made Luca a blue bow infantry archer, since George had been announced at the time of me making these units, and I figured it'd be nice to add the unit type to the Grailshire. For Luca's bow, I named it Woodhaven after the village that Luca comes from. It has 14 might and also grants him 3 speed. I also gave it the unique effect of treating Luca as a beast unit. While the downside is that effective against beast units are effective against him, it also means beast units can transform while adjacent to him, and he can also receive buffs like Hone and Fortify Beasts. Luca also gets the Infantry Beast effect by having +2 attack and a Wodow effect if Luca isn't adjacent to an ally or only Beast and Dragon allies at the start of a turn. I also gave him a built-in Hone Beast skill in order to boost the attack and speed of any Beast ally adjacent to him. For the rest of Luca's skills, I mainly tried to focus on speed, so I gave him even speed 3 as his 5-star skill, and attack speed push 3 as his 4-star skill, in order to make the skill a bit more easily accessible by adding it to the Grail Shop. As for Luca's stats, I mainly focused on his attack, speed, and HP. He also has decent defense, but his resistance isn't anything to tell home about. Overall, Luca's a very unique archer that is definitely an interesting addition to Beast Emblem. And now that brings us to the end of the first episode of Outrealm Heroes. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'll be rotating this series around with my Refine series, Ash's Pokemon Journeys wishlist, and other series that I come up with down the line. I plan on making a lot more Fae crossover theory crafting videos in the future, so if you have any ideas for some series you'd like me to do as a crossover with Fae, then leave a comment and maybe it'll end up featuring in the next Outrealm Heroes video. That's all for now, so hopefully I'll see you around soon, my dudes. Bye!